Glenn, is that you? I hear
Mike.
you.
Yeah, Mike, it's me.
I'm in this cardboard box. I'm stuck.
No. Why? How?
I got bored and I made a maze in this cardboard box, but I can't do the spoiler announcement even though people can hear me clearly.
Oh, my God.
I'm gonna need you to do it.
This is a disaster.
I know.
The following podcast contains spoilers for Dave Made a Maze. You have been warned. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glenjamin Button, along with your host, if we can find him, the crazy man, Miguel Magusta.
I just broke out of the cardboard box. That's what that sound was.
Nothing like yelling "bruh" at the top of your lungs to break out of a maze.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a little toasty in my room, but I'm over.
It's a little toasty in my basement. Mm-hmm. This is like the second to last podcast I'll be recording in my basement, and then I'll have my own little movie room office area.
I'm so ready for you. It's
I am
insane.
so ready as well. I can't wait. But yeah, what movies have you watched this week?
I took a little break from the 2 crazy weeks that I just had.
Yes.
More because I was doing a lot of like editing and stuff like that, and kind of got that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been on this Bill Burr kick this like last week. Amazing human being. It's funny as hell. Mm-hmm. So I watched 3 of his specials: Paper Tiger, Sorry You Feel That Way, and Walk Your Way Out. All so freaking hilarious. It's insane. I've watched a bunch of other YouTube things and such like that. After that, I watched Shang-Chi with you. And then, of course, I watched A Dave Made a Maze.
Yes.
Which we will talk about. What did you watch, you silly
I watched a few
man?
things. Before I go on what I watched, have you seen his Bill Burr's animated show, F is for Family?
I was going to start watching it at some point this week, but I have not gotten to it yet before, no.
It takes, at least for me, it took a while to get into it. Mm-hmm. But then I got into it and I really enjoy it. But I go through that same thing every week where I'm just like, do I really just want to listen to Bill Burr yelling? Because that's essentially all it is. Which, it's fine, but you have to be prepared for him yelling. You gotta
be in that mindset.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's a great show. Has probably one of the funniest things ever with someone going too far with a joke. I won't go into any more detail than that. But I watched 4 movies.
Oh, there you go.
The first one I watched is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, a film from 1966 with Elizabeth Taylor and her husband, if I can find him, Richard Burton. Also stars George Siegel, who many will know as the grandfather in The Goldbergs, who just passed away this year, and then Sandy Dennis. And for those of you who don't know, it is a middle-aged couple who have a younger couple over for very late drinks at like 2 a.m. I didn't know people stayed up that late in the 60s.
Of course.
And essentially, it is just people yelling. I see why people love this movie. Mm-hmm. It's very well acted, very well made, very well written. But I cannot stand movies where people just act super immature. And like, that's the point. And that's on me. That's not on the movie. That's on me. So I didn't care for it too much, but I understand why people like it as much as they do. So yeah, that's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Then I rewatched Candyman because now that I'm a dad, I go to the theater whenever I can, even if that means just for a rewatch. Because Daddy needs his addiction fixed.
Scratch his neck slightly.
Yeah. Then I watched Dave Made a Maze. We'll get into that, this episode, because that's what it is. Then I watched Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. You and I watched that together in IMAX. I beat up a little kid in the bathroom, and
elbowed his face.
Elbowed his face. There is a review on that on our YouTube. Pile drived him right into the hand dryer.
Completely understandable.
Great. I don't know if I haven't watched wrestling since I was like 10. I don't even know if pile driver is what I mimed doing to you.
It's not, but I'll allow it.
It's a wrestling word, and what I did was a wrestling move. That's all that matters. But yeah, that's all I watched.
The kid is unconscious.
He might be dead, honestly. But yeah, he deserved it. Kid wouldn't shut up during the movie. Dear FBI and CIA and CPS people, this is a joke.
Did not actually happen.
I did not. I talked about it. After coming out of the bathroom, made a surprisingly nimble movement to mime it.
You really did. You came at me.
I surprised myself with how nimble it was, but there's that. But yeah, that's all I watched. Before we get into the movie, you said you got some little news. What's that?
Apparently, Stanley Tucci's been keeping a little secret from the world. Completely understandable.
Yeah.
3 years ago, he actually had cancer at the base of his tongue. Completely kept it a secret. And apparently, I think it said that he got treatment for it, and now it shouldn't come back up.
Cool.
Which is really awesome, because Stanley Tucci is an amazing person and actor.
I love the Tooch.
Yeah, who doesn't love the Tooch?
Idiots.
It's even a little more heartbreaking when you find out, like I did, that his first wife died from cancer.
Ooh, yeah.
So that would be absolutely horrible, and especially since the last movie that I shall say me watched was Supernova, which is basically him, I think, getting dementia or something like that. It's just him being sick, and it was just really heartbreaking to see. If that would have been his last movie that I saw, I'd be like, no.
Not
what is this tragedy? Son of a bitch.
Yes.
But yeah, it's good to see that he is alive and well, and still doing the Tooch.
Cool. Yeah, doing the Tooch. Yeah, well, that's great to hear. Great to hear that he's healthy now. And yeah, that's all you got, right?
That is all I've got. Yes.
All right. So yeah, this kind of made up for last week when we talked about stuff for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So let's get into Dave Made a Maze.
Hey! What the?
Hey, baby! Welcome home!
What is this?
I built a labyrinth.
Have you been working on this all weekend?
I'm lost.
It's cardboard.
I know, but it's much bigger on the inside.
I'm going into the maze.
No! I don't want you to get lost!
Okay, just ignore me. Do what you're doing. Put some music over this. It'll be a montage. It'll be awesome.
Can we go in the maze now?
Let's go.
Stop! Go, 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 go!
It is bigger.
This place is huge.
The double! Okay, I think we're good.
Get out of here!
Dave! Follow me.
Okay, I can explain it. I can explain everything. No, I can't. Instead of trying to defeat the maze, we've got to complete the maze.
We're not just doing that because it rhymes.
Well, then how about instead of trying to diminish it, you guys help me finish it?
Oh!
Yes!
Yes!
He's back.
Dave, an artist who has yet to complete anything significant in his career, builds a fort in his living room out of pure frustration, only to wind up trapped by the fantastical pitfalls, booby traps, and critters of his own creation. Directed by Bill Watterson, written by Steven Sears and Bill Watterson, it is starring Mira Rohit Kubani, Nick Thune, Adam Bush, James Urbaniak, Frank Cotty is in there, and that's pretty much the only people of note.
It's a very small cast.
Yeah, it is. And the reason I picked this, for those of you who didn't listen to last week's episode, there was this video on What Culture that was like the 10 perfect movies or something like that. Where they admitted, like, in technique, it was perfect. Maybe not necessarily the movie or story itself, but technique-wise, it is perfect. And I could see why they thought that. This is a very complete movie look-wise. Just based, the entire set is cardboard for the most part, with the exception of the living room that the fort is in.
Yep, just the apartment that they're living in.
Yeah, and I thought that, while this movie definitely has flaws, I thought it was fun. I thought it was a really fun time. It didn't take itself too seriously.
Indeed.
And there's a lot of really cool moments in it that were, good old fun.
A lot of good references, too.
Yes, a lot of good references, many of which I don't know if I was tired or whatever. I knew they were references, and I was just like, I don't remember what these are references to. But yeah, where should we start with this?
I mean, I feel like we got to start with the creativity.
Oh, yeah, the great creativity. So obviously the concept of this is like this impossibly large cardboard maze that the titular character Dave, played by Nick Thune, makes. And it almost seems like they had a set designer come up to them and be like, hey, I want to make a bunch of sets out of cardboard. And they're like, okay, we'll write a script about that.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely like the set came first and then the story later. But, that's not really a huge problem for me. I thought it was extremely creative the way they did it. From everywhere from, like, the little traps that were there to to the gore of the kills.
Yeah, the artisticness of it.
Yeah, it was just a really fun movie artistically in that sense. I was enjoying it for the most part, but when the first woman died and her head got cut off and all of her blood and guts is just confetti, I was like, okay, this is a cool movie. I
loved what she said right before she died. She's like, it's a fucking cocktail party in here, and I'm the only one who stepped on this. Like, yeah.
There's a lot of
trap sets off and her neck gets slit open.
There's a lot of dialogue pointing to the flaws in like the actions that happen, where it's just like, that's probably in the audience's heads. Like, there's so many people in there, and she's the first one to step on that. That they just point that out, which I have to respect.
Yeah.
I guess. Not the moving plot of this, but this kind of makes it, is what moves it, is the documentary filmmaker trying to make a documentary about everything and just being super pretentious and annoying throughout. And that gave me such flashbacks for my documentary filmmaking class, where, like, you have to tell everyone to repeat the question in their answer.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no. No.
Vietnam flashbacks. Willem Dafoe's dying on the ground.
But yeah, there's a lot of really funny things in this. Honestly, it's a hard movie to talk about because it is just like you have to see it to know what's going on, really.
Yeah.
But it had a lot of funny moments too, where like they are running through the maze and they come across the thing that looks suspiciously like a vagina, and everyone just kind of gets lost looking at it.
Yep.
And for like 2 minutes, one person after another gets like entranced by it, and someone's like, "No, it's a trap."
That's a trap. We gotta go.
Yeah, that's a trap.
It just keeps hypnotizing them to come within it, and they're like, oh, "We gotta go."
Yeah.
This movie was really fun, especially creativity wise goes. It's basically the story of Daedalus, the Greek mythology story, where he builds a maze and it's got a minotaur in it, but it doesn't it's not too serious at all. It's just a comedy. It's got all those aspects, except for Nick Thune didn't have to make this for a king or anything like that.
Yeah, he made it because he was bored.
Yeah, he just made it because he was bored. Next thing you know, there's booby traps and stuff in it.
Yeah.
What's crazy is I looked at the little trivia thing, and it said they didn't pay for any of the cardboard in this at all.
I believe that.
And
that's crazy, but I still believe it.
Yeah, they were like taking it from. Well, they obviously asked permission. They were taking it from stores that were just recycling it, and then they used it. They can only build 2 rooms at a time too.
Because of the size of their soundstage?
Yep. And,
that makes sense.
So they could only build 2 rooms, and each one would last about an average of 4 hours before they had to build the next room and keep shooting. So it's pretty cool that they did all that.
Oh, absolutely.
And, just the amount of just the set design for it was so beautiful. Just like how much shit and creativity you could put into it. The little sculptures, shall we say, that they made, and they definitely put some time, they definitely put some effort, and it definitely paid off for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially the Minotaur. The Minotaur was crazy looking.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I don't want to shit talk it because it was a cool design, but it was definitely like, for lack of a better word, lazy, because it was just like, hey, let's just put a head on him, put some cufflinks on him that were made out of cardboard,
And let's just get this
and then just a
ripped
really
guy.
buff dude.
Yeah.
And so like, it would have been kind of cool to see a completely cardboard figure,
Yeah.
but I completely understand why they're just like, this is good.
Yeah, it would have been pretty hard to. I mean, they could have put a guy in it still, but I was gonna say it could have been hard to move around in it and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, going back to some of the references, my favorite one was, "You fuck my wife."
What is that from? I
It's
know.
from Raging Bull.
Oh, that's right.
There's this scene where where one of the rooms kind of has them going into like this old black and white, like hazy TV style, and the Nick Thune and Adam Bush turn to each other and they're like, "Hey, look at this. You fuck my wife?" And they just go into their De Niro impressions.
That's funny.
It is so funny.
Oh, yeah.
You fuck my wife. And they just kept going back and forth. And eventually, at some point, the cameraman gets like kind of ensnared in a trap that they pretty much started too. And his final words were, "You fuck my wife," and then gets gobbled up by the maze.
Yeah, there are a lot of really good references. Speaking of the cameraman, him and the boom operator were by far my favorite characters, and the director too, James Urbaniak. And that's just because I connected them with the most. There were little reference jokes in there that were, reminiscent of my film school days. Pretty much anytime the director would speak, it was something that I remembered from film school, where there even things like, oh, we're gonna put a fill light on her just to fill out her face, and then getting a white balance, and like when people don't realize how stupid and archaic some film techniques are. Like, literally, to get a white balance, you hold up a white piece of paper and balance the camera to it. There's nothing fancy about it. Like, you would think that there's this huge board or whatever, and they have those, but like, you don't need it. You just need a white piece of paper, and it's just little things like that, and the boom operator running with the boom mic. In my sound class, we had to do that, where we had to just like follow someone, and because everyone is just trying to fuck everyone up, because you're paired with your classmates, like they would just run, and so we would just see who could outrun the boom operator.
I tell you what, as someone who did it recently, it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not, and you, not to diminish your work, but you technically were on a shotgun mic, not a boom mic.
Yeah,
it's even harder when you have a boom mic. And it's just little things like that just made me so happy, just remembering all that. And I don't know, this movie was very nostalgic for me, even though it's the film aspect of it is a very little part of the story. It's the driving force of the story, but it's a very little part of the story, because the whole story is about this guy who's like not happy with where he is in his life. But just the little bits that they added, the little jokes, I felt like were just for me, and I really enjoyed that aspect. It's just I found myself smiling at those things and be like, there are so many people that will have no idea what the fuck's going on with that.
Yeah, I mean that's what made it work though. Too.
Yeah,
it was different for, I guess, the average person.
Yeah.
The one thing that I really enjoyed was how short of a runtime it had, because if it was any longer, I'd probably kind of be bored with it.
Yeah,
not saying that it wasn't a fun movie or anything. I did find it hilarious, and it was funny and creative as shit.
Yeah, but there was a solid 15-20 minutes where it kind of felt like it was overstaying its welcome.
Yeah,
but then it changed it up again. So like I'm glad that they made it a feature because it's more accessible as a feature.
Yeah.
But it probably, if you're trying to make a very tight movie, probably around 45, 50 minutes is all that was needed.
Yeah. But I mean, regardless, great movie. So funny. But I don't know how much necessarily more there is to talk about for me. I mean, each room had its own feeling, had its own events happening, and it was just really fun. But we can't talk about each single room. Like that.
One room I do want to point out is the room was I probably laughed the hardest at this room just because it is just like absolutely ridiculous. The room that was a smaller cardboard maze within the big cardboard maze. And he was just like, "Yeah, I haven't finished it." And everyone just kept talking shit. I was like, "I haven't finished it yet." It's just
like, I haven't finished it. And they're just like, you haven't finished the big one yet.
Yeah. But it was a really fun movie. The first room that they go in that has like they're kind of walking through the chest high paper junk and the giant statue man just spitting it out.
Yeah, one of the first rooms they were in.
Yeah, I was really worried that was going to turn into the disposal part of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it kind of referenced that a little bit, but I'm glad that like the walls didn't start closing in.
Yeah.
Because I
got those same vibes from that.
Yeah. I thought if the walls had started closing in, it would have been too much of a on the nose reference.
Yeah, with that one I was getting worried that it would be the whole movie being references like that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it wasn't because that would have been, for 120 minutes reference to reference, that would have been pretty crazy.
Like on the nose references too, not just like the Raging Bull one, which I knew I had seen, but I didn't remember where it was.
You fucked my wife.
Yeah, but I don't. This is, I guess, is gonna be a really short episode because I really don't have anything else to say.
Hey, that's all right.
It's a fun movie with great artistry with the cardboard design. If you're a filmmaker or have been to film school or even like a film study class, you will enjoy the subtle jokes. And, I know people that are like the director, cameraman, and boom operator in this. So it's just, it was fun for me. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was really fun too. Just an overall good time.
Yes. So, I guess that takes us to the judgment. As always, it has to be a unanimous decision whether or not this becomes a little shelf boy, goes on the shelf with all our other KFR shelf buddies, with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. I picked it, so it's my turn to go first. This is tough because it's not like
I'm gonna surprise myself with what I'm gonna say. So
Ooh, okay.
I'll let you go, but I'll.
Well, that makes me think you're gonna put it on. So
no,
what? No. It's a fun movie. Like it's different. I enjoyed it. It's not the greatest acting or written movie. But it's a fun movie. The artistry in itself, if you want to see what set designers can do with just cardboard, this is I'm going to use this and then I'm going to Google it afterwards, see if it's right. The coup d'etat. Let's see. Coup d'etat. Let's see.
Yeah, we all know I don't know that fucking word, so.
It is not. So what I was trying to say is that is like the best example of it, but coup d'etat is a French appetizer consisting of a slice.
If we're going to be fair, that is something that I would say.
So I feel like I've heard people say that for like saying this is the best example. Anyway,
to some
this is
people,
the best.
That could be the thing.
Yeah, this is the best example for what set designers can do and how a set designer can really sell a film. Because any lesser set designers, this movie probably would have been shit. But I'm gonna say it goes on the shelf because it's really fun and it's cool to look at.
I'm gonna say the same. The artistry is the biggest thing for me. If you put that much effort into a movie, just at least the set design, and you can come out making me laugh a good chunk of times, and I don't get too bored with it. You deserve to be on the shelf. Come on, it's a fun movie. Just even if you're just kind of like sitting down, like, well, I want to put something on. We'll put this on. It's fun. It passes a good hour and 20 minutes, And each room, you're going to be like, that's a lot of fucking cardboard.
Yeah, and it's fun and it's different too.
Yeah.
It's you're not gonna see anything like it probably ever again. So it stands out in that sense. So yeah, we both said it's on the shelf. So Dave made a maze, becomes a little shelf boy with the likes of Apostle and Handmaid, and that brings us to our plugs for this week. Because it was my week, I go first for this as well. As we have stated several times, we have both seen Candyman, the Nia DaCosta one that is out in theaters now. We have a review for that on our YouTube channel. And there was a video that I watched before we did that review, and I referenced a little bit on BuzzFeed Unsolved Network, called The True Story Behind Candyman. And it just kind of goes behind the history of Cabrini Green and how the urban myth of something similar to Candyman came to be, and murders that were referenced in the original Candyman and are based on true stories. So it kind of just goes into that. So that is on the BuzzFeed Unsolved Network video called The True Story Behind Candyman.
Candyman, 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 Candyman. As stated in the 1992 film,
No one ever got past 4.
as saying his name a 5th time would summon a vengeful, hook-wielding serial murderer. Though possibly just an urban legend, the real-life connections of Candyman are in many cases far more horrifying than a scary movie.
And it's just an interesting little 13-minute video. Although I will admit, I'm not a huge fan of the narrator's voice. Sounds like he's trying too hard, but maybe he's new. I don't know.
Who knows?
It's good. Like, the information's good, and he's not terrible. I'm kind of a nitpicker when it comes to voiceover.
Hey,
So,
that's okay.
Yeah.
I still love you.
I love you too. That's my plug.
All right. Mine's going to be a little different from that. So I got, like I said, I was on a Bill Burr kick this week. And it all started off because I like to listen to podcasts while I'm at work because, dear God, am I bored steaming and cleaning things all the time. So, Bill Burr's little Boston voice in my little ear craniums is a great way to soothe that boredom. And so, dear God. So on Conan O'Brien's podcast, he was one of the guests. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend episode. Bill Burr was one of the most recent ones for sure. And those two are hilarious together. The way Conan kind of eggs Bill Burr into his jokes sometimes. Oh yeah, they're pretty good duo when it comes to that. Like he'll just set him up because you know Bill Burr for his just tenacity, and Conan just sets him up for it, and it's so funny.
I just notice things they just looked shitty in the 70s. They just did. When I was growing up, all cops, that I would see, all the Boston cops were heavy guys that just didn't look happy or look good. And now I walk around, policemen for the most part are in very good shape. Something
they probably
changed.
all have, they have Instagram pages.
Yeah.
And when they're not wearing the uniform, it's like, what's up with those man tits, you fat fuck? So now everybody's getting shamed on, dude, I'm wearing a hoodie right now because even just the weight I am right now, because we had 3 birthdays in my family this month. So I've been eating cake like almost every single night, which has been great. But, at my age, it's just over. So I put on like 10 pounds or something. So now I'm shaming myself wearing the hoodie.
So that's going to be my plug is Conan Needs a Friend episode Bill Burr, one of the most very recent ones. I think he's been on there a few times.
Cool. So those are our plugs for this week. That brings us to our assignment for next week. It is little Glenjamin Button's turn.
Yes.
So Glenn, will you tell the children what their assignment is for this week?
I will. And I'm sorry if you don't have either HBO Max, Apple TV renting, or Criterion Channel. But listen, this is one of the movies that I've been wanting to watch for a long time because it's got my beloved boy Jackie Chan in it. And I've been wanting to watch some more kung fu type movies here lately after Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So Police Story is our choice this week. Well, my choice this week. The 1985 film Police Story. I didn't have. Oh, it's also directed by Jackie Chan. That's news to me.
Yeah.
Written and directed by and stars Jackie Chan. Holy shit! A virtuous Hong Kong police officer must clear his good name when the drug lord he is after frames him for the murder of a dirty cop.
Ooh.
我哋今次嘅任務係要拘捕所有參與販毒嘅人。今次行動嘅代號命名為獵豬行動，大家明白未？明白。
And like I said, it's directed, written, and starring Jackie Chan. It's also executive producers Chi Hua Chen.
Executive director.
What did I say?
You said producer.
Did I?
Because executive director is not normally a thing. So
fuck it. And it's also written by Edward Tang. It also stars Maggie Cheung and Bridget Lin, maybe.
Or Brigitte, I don't know.
Brigitte.
There's like 1,000 ways you can pronounce that name.
Yeah, this is a movie that I've been wanting to watch for a long time. Never got around to it. And hey, now it's our chance. So there we go.
So that is on Criterion Channel, HBO Max, and you could probably rent it many places if you really want to. Police Story with Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan.
That is our assignment for next week. Thank you everyone for listening. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we are Keystone_film_review. Twitter, Keystone_film, Facebook, Keystone Film Review, YouTube, and TikTok, Keystone Film Review. I think. Are you still doing that?
Eventually, yeah.
I know. On Letterboxd, I'm Mike KFR.
And I'm Glenn KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we watch Jackie Chan, I'm assuming, kill people with his pinky.
He usually does that.
Yeah, he usually does, and sometimes it's funny. Sometimes
even when the cameras are off.
He's wanted for a lot of murders. Allegedly. Not really allegedly. This is a joke. Please don't sue us, Mr. Chan. Technically speaking, my stepsister-in-law's name is Jackie Chan. So, we're family, I guess? Bye!
What?